Sir, Murugesan sir,
Yes,
your video is not coming.
I just stopped
Okay.
it because I just went
Yeah,
for.
no problem, sir. No problem, no problem, no problem.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yes, yes,
Sir, ready, sir? Shall we start,
Yes,
sir?
sir. Yes. Yes.
yes,
Sir.
yes.
Murugesan, sir, shall we start, sir?
Yes, I am ready here.
Okay, sir, okay. Sir, please say
Hi, Murugesh.
from your
Good
side, sir.
morning.
John, sir, from your side, if you say yes, I will start, sir.
It is
Yes, sir,
already
you can
long
proceed.
live.
I can proceed. Okay, okay. A warm good evening to all the participants, NSS volunteers, NSS program officers, and other delegates from various countries of the various parts of the country. On behalf of management, Bapatla Educational Society, principal, staff, and students, Bapatla Gale Pharmacy, Bapatla, I welcome you all for this international online webinar on Is Tobacco Addiction a Global Endemic? A New Perspective, organized by NSS Unit, Bapatla Gale Pharmacy, Bapatla, in association with NSSL JNDK Kakinada. Now I request our beloved principal sir, Gopal Krishnamurthy Garu, to address the audience.
Very good evening to Murugesan sir and the controller of examination and NSS coordinator, Dr. Venkat Reddy Garu, and my team members on behalf of the management and NSS committee of Bapatla College of Pharmacy. I wholeheartedly welcome all the participants for today's webinar. Of course, now we are facing the pandemic COVID, and it is connected to the cigarette smoking cessation also, because the patients or the persons who are having a habit of cigarette smoking, it is everybody knows that it is a socio-economical and health problem, and the people lungs will be badly affected. And the COVID also is expected to affect same lungs. So the current situation, it is our responsibility, our social responsibility, to bring a knowledge on what is the need of cigarette smoking cessation and how it is useful to overcome this or battle against the COVID pandemic situation. And as a pharmacist or as a background of pharmacy, I wish to present one more thing also, because the persons who are not having cigarette smoking but taking the cigarette smoking into their lungs may also having a possibility of drug interactions. The people who are taking drugs by inhaling the nicotine vapor, there is a possibility of variations in the efficiency, safety of the drug. So those persons who are taking drugs, they should be precautioned, they should be advised to avoid the cigarette smoking. And in terms of the COVID battle also, it is well required. And I wholeheartedly thank the today's speaker, Dr. Murugesan sir, and for giving a suggestion and valuable support, Dr. Venkat Reddy Garu, who is young dynamic controller of examination and successfully leading NSS team from last couple of years. And I wish to thank the both of you for giving this opportunity to have such kind of webinar. And thank you one and all. Now I request Purna to introduce our dynamic controller of examination sir to the audience. Thank you.
It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce Honorable Chief Guest of the evening, Dr. K. Venkat Reddy Garu, NSS Program Coordinator, JNTU Kakinada, and also the Controller of Examinations, JNTU Kakinada. Sir is having total of 16 years of experience in teaching and research. Sir has 10 years of administrative experience and worked as an office in charge of examinations, training and placement officer, additional controller of examinations. Sir is presently working as NSS Program Coordinator and Controller of Examinations at JNTU Kakinada. Sir is senior member of IEEE, the Institution of Engineers India, and Indian Society for Technical Education. Sir is recipient of Best Researcher Award from JNTU-K in 2018 and the Young Engineers Award 2013 from the Institution of Engineers India in 2013. Sir has also received Tatarov Prize from the Institution of Engineers in 2012. Sir has visited France, Switzerland, USA, and Malaysia on academic purposes. Sir has successfully completed an R&D project sponsored by ASIT New Delhi on investigation and implementation of control strategies for switch reluctance modes during 2010 and 2012. Sir has published 2 patents and 65 research papers in various international, national journals and conferences. Sir is editorial board member and reviewer of many international journals. Sir has guided 4 research scholars for their PhDs and currently guiding 8 research scholars for their PhD degrees. Sir research areas include the special electrical machines, electric drives, power quality and facts. And it is very, I'm very happily invite our young and dynamic, as our principal sir quoted, NSS program coordinator JNTUK as well as control of examinations JNTUK, Venkat Reddy sir, to speak a few words regarding our webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Purnachandra Garu, for your nice introduction. Respected dignitaries in the webinar, Principal, Bapatla College of Pharmacy, Dr. T. G.K. Murthy Garu, and today's resource person, Dr. Murugesan Tangaraju Garu from Duke University, USA, and my friend and program officer, Bapatla College of Pharmacy, C.K. Purnachandra Garu, and the other participants, NSS program officers, NSS volunteers, and other viewers. A very good evening to all of you. And at first, I take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the Bapatla College of Pharmacy for coming forward to conduct such a beautiful online webinar on this tobacco addiction. Before entering into the side effects of this tobacco addiction, as tomorrow, this 21st June, is being celebrated as International Day of Yoga, my best wishes to all of you on the occasion of the International Day of Yoga. Of course, this webinar is also being conducted as a part of the International Day of Yoga celebrations and in view of COVID pandemic also by all the NSS units. We are all aware that yoga is an invaluable gift by our ancient Indian tradition. It basically embodies the unity of mind and body. So normally some people may think that the yoga is related to a certain community or religion. Yoga is not related to any religion or any community. So any person in the entire world can practice yoga, can be benefited out of it. When we talk about this International Day of Yoga celebrations, the idea of International Day of Yoga celebrations was proposed by our beloved Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi Garu, in the year 2014, on September 27, 2014, and recognized by United Nations General Assembly on December 11, 2014. The first International Day of Yoga was celebrated on 21st June 2015 with over 35,900 participants from 84 different countries and performed 21 different asanas for more than half an hour. It won 2 Guinness World Records, and from the 2015 onwards, we have been practicing International Day of Yoga. Why this International Day of Yoga or practicing yoga is so important at this particular point of time? And most of our participants are NSS volunteers and student friends. The yoga basically improves your mind capacity and your concentration besides your physical fitness. For students, the mental fitness is very important. Unless you are physically fit, you cannot be mentally fit. Unless you are mentally and physically fit, you cannot perform well. So if you want to perform well in your career, you must be mentally and physically fit. This yoga definitely improves your mental and physical fitness. So in this COVID-19 pandemic, most of our researchers and most of the doctors are suggesting this COVID-19 pandemic can be better addressed by improving our immunity system with our concentration, with our willpower. If you want to have a better willpower, if you want to improve our mind focusing, our concentration, and if you want to improve our immunity system, practicing yoga will also improve this immunity system. And our beloved Prime Minister is also mentioning to have a fit India. And on this occasion, let us start practicing yoga as frequently as possible, and let us have a fit India. And then let us come to our today's topic. We have with us Dr. Murugesan. He's an expert in this particular area. And of course, the tobacco addiction was there, and it is also still there in India. More than 50 years back, in India also we used to crop the tobacco in most of the places. In AP also, in Guntur district and Prakasam district, in some Nellore areas also, we used to have the tobacco farms, and we used to have our own way of consumption of the tobacco products, and we used to export it to the other countries also. By looking at the side effects on this tobacco consumption, we have completely stopped these type of practices, even though these days also we are importing these tobacco products like cigarettes, BDs, etc. from other parts. And some of us may feel that this tobacco consumption has impact only on the lungs. To my understanding and belief, the consumption of tobacco in the form of cigarettes, BDs, or in some rural places, we used to have the practice of direct consumption of the tobaccos. This consumption of tobacco products will have impact on lungs, heart, stomach, skin, bones, brain, mouth and throat, and in the fertility of the human beings also. And we know out of the lung cancers, the 84% of the deaths from the lung cancers are from the tobacco consumption. 83% of the deaths from other chronic pulmonary diseases. And the consumption of tobacco and their products. While consuming the tobacco, we consume carbon monoxide and nicotine. The carbon monoxide and the nicotine improves the speed of working of your heart, or it improves heart rate, and so definitely the lifespan of the heart reduces. It damages the heart. It has impact on stomach, leads to the stomach cancers, kidney cancers, and causes other impacts on the stomach system. And it reduces the oxygen supply to the skin, and the skin will be it looks like age, and skin will be dull. So my student friends, and if you consume these products, you cannot look beautiful. And it has impact on the bones as well. And of course, it increases the scope for brain strokes. So by consuming the tobacco products, you'll have double the impact of brain strokes. So as I said, we have with us Dr. Murugesan Garu, and he's an expert in that. Let us hear more from Dr. Murugesan Garu. And this occasion, I request all the viewers, the NSS program volunteers and student friends to concentrate on the issues that are being mentioned by Dr. Murugesan Garu. And as NSS program coordinators or NSS program officers or NSS volunteers, we have more responsibility to educate the rural people and educate the society. And let us try our best to educate the rural people on this tobacco consumption and other aspects also. Being a technological university from JNTK NSS unit also, we expect to conduct more awareness programs than the clean and green activities. Most of the NSS units from degree colleges, junior colleges, and schools are conducting clean and green activities, and the plantation also. And of course, we need to conduct all these activities. In addition to all these activities and blood donation activities, let us focus more on the conduction of awareness activities like this particular webinar, and let us conduct the awareness activities on the digital platforms, on the digital awareness, usage of digital platforms for their communication, etc. I once again take this opportunity to congratulate the NSS unit of Bapatla College of Pharmacy, Bapatla, and the NSS program officer, Sri K. Purnachandra Garu in particular. And I also take this opportunity to thank the principal, Bapatla College of Pharmacy, T.A.G.K. Murthy Garu, for having invited me to this particular webinar. Thank you one and all for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Purnachandra garu, do you hear me?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable information, sir, and for your valuable suggestions. Despite of your hectic schedule and as your dual role as a controller of examinations and joined you NSS program coordinator, you have taken time for us and you have given very valuable suggestions, sir. And looking forward for your association in forward and future awareness programs, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Once again.
Thank you. Our activities are going on in the examination branch, and I'm in my controller of examination seat right now, and we are about to release first BTech first semester results maybe in another half an hour, maybe it may be displayed to the colleges by Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable information, sir. Now, moving to the another part of your today's webinar. I am very much privileged to introduce today's speaker of this session, Dr. Murugesan Thangaraj, sir. Sir has graduated from Madras Medical College in 1995. Sir has completed post-graduation in pharmaceutical technology from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, India. And sir has did his PhD from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, India. And then later on, sir did his postdoctoral associate from Virginia Tech, Virginia, USA. And then later on, sir worked as research associate in Duke University Medical Center, Durham, USA. And then later on, sir has worked as a senior research associate, Duke University Medical Center, Durham, USA. And now, sir is presently working as assistant professor in Duke University Medical Center, Durham, USA. So for the past 16 plus years, sir has been researching in the field of smoking and have been significant contributions to the development of effective nicotine replacement therapies for tobacco addiction. Sir has co-invented few novel nicotine delivery technologies that are under product development stages elsewhere. Sir research interest as a principal and co-principal investigator has been centered around tobacco harm reduction, and sir is primarily focusing on the development of reduced risk nicotine products by using chemical, pharmacological, and bioanalytical techniques. And now, sir is a director for Bioanalytical Laboratory, Center for Smoking Cessation, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Science, Division of Addiction, School of Medicine, Duke University Medical Center, Durham, USA. Now, I invite Dr. Murugesan Thangaraj, sir, to take away the session. Thank you, sir. You can go ahead with the session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the nice introduction and the keynote address by Dr. Venkata Reddy, sir. He was almost, he seems to be expert in the field too. The same topic, he can talk for long, I guess. He actually explained what are the side effects and other severe consequences of tobacco. That's really a very nice introduction before my talk. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for inviting me. And dear colleagues and friends, so good evening to everyone. I wish you are safe and healthy during this COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, we are all severely affected by the unprecedented virus outbreak, which vanishes several thousands of human lives worldwide. Although the COVID-19 has been threatening the entire world for the past few months, we are confident from the emerging news that the pandemic will come to an end or will significantly control in the near future through aggressive research and development approaches in vaccines and developments of other treatments. But what I am going to discuss today is a well-known preventable situation that is affecting the vast majority of the world population for several decades. and remains a big challenge to mitigate effectively. That is none other than tobacco addiction, which is silently and unnoticeably killing millions of people globally every year. It is vital to know that although tobacco use related deaths seldom make headlines, it won't be published in all the news outlets, it kills one person in every 6 seconds. It is believed that the human tobacco consumption in the form of chewing and smoking during cultural events and religious ceremonies has started as early as 3000 BC. By the 1700s, smoking had become more widespread after the invention of cigarette making machine that helped to produce massive number of cigarettes. It should be noted that tobacco is the only legally available consumer product that kills more than 50% of its user prematurely. Despite tremendous efforts and various advancements in tobacco control, tobacco addiction remains a leading cause of preventable deaths, disabilities, and diseases across the globe. Tobacco use not only impacting the health, it severely impacts the world economy and causes catastrophic environmental damages. We need to really realize that tobacco addiction is a serious physical and psychological illness. In this webinar, I am going to highlight current status of tobacco use and serious global consequences of tobacco addiction based on the information that I have selected from the reliable publication of World Health Organization, Center for Disease Control and Food and Drug Administration. Additionally, let me propose an appropriate name for the current status of tobacco use and its related death crisis, and also make few suggestions that will help to mitigate the global tobacco addiction. So I just named this talk as is the tobacco addiction is a global endemic, a new perspective. I'm going to rationalize why I chose this topic for today's webinar. I planned my talk in these following ways. First, let me briefly explain what are the neuroscience of tobacco addiction. Second, and what are the global consequences of tobacco use. And finally, I will suggest some effective action plans to make tobacco-free world for our future generation. First, few signs on the tobacco addiction.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Before talking about the tobacco addiction, we need to ask some questions. When do really people start using tobacco product?
Sir, Murugesan, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please share your screen, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, should I start again? I thought I said sorry about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is audible, sir.
Okay.
You maximize, sir. Slide. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's right.
today
Sir.
I'm going to talk about the tobacco addiction is a global endemic. It's a new
Yes, sir.
perspective.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My sequence talk is going to be, I am going to briefly explain or describe about what is a neuroscience of tobacco addiction. Second, I am going to describe about what are the global consequences of tobacco use. Finally, I am going to suggest some effective action plan to make tobacco-free world a reality. First, let us talk about neuroscience of tobacco addiction. So basically, we need to ask, when do people start using the tobacco product? Because if you know the reason, if you know the timeline when they really start the tobacco use, it will be helpful for us to put our efforts towards that. So this is based on my personal interaction with the heavily addicted smoker in our who comes for treatment in our center. I learned that most smokers started the habit when they were teenagers. The smoker who started smoking before the age of 18 are likely to increase the tobacco use throughout the adolescence and also into their adulthood. It is important to know that since teenagers' brains will be in the development stage during this period, tobacco use can cause major developmental damage and severe addiction both in physical and mental. So now we have to ask, why do people start using tobacco product? There should be some reason why everyone starts smoking. Okay, so I'm going to share few vulnerable situations or scenario based on my personal interaction with the tobacco user in our center. The first one is those who have friends or family or sibling as a smoker are more likely to start smoking than those who don't have that environment. So that is nothing but environment influences a person to choose a bad habit, particularly smoking. This is called environmental influence. Second, when I spoke to some smoker, they said that the way why they started smoking, they said that they just wanted to try it. They wanted to just try it. Some people thought even smoking was very cool. So this is happened during the teenage, because during teenage time, the risk taking and novelty seeking behavior will be as a priority. So at teenage time, people can think that they can try anything or they can do even anything. So during that time, they started tobacco use. Then another occasion, when I spoke to tobacco user in Tanjavur, my native place, when I did some charitable work, I came to know that many people had started using tobacco product to alleviate or to feel free from the headache or toothaches, and some people started using the tobacco product to really control the appetite. In other words, they wanted to delay the meal time during agriculture work as well as driving work. So they actually started using the tobacco product as a appetite suppressor. Then when I spoke to some college students on the reasoning for the smoking, they said they could concentrate very well after smoking. So again, they are self-medicating themselves to have cognitive enhancements or mood modulation. So these are the few vulnerable situations we need to be very watchful so that we can advise not to pick the habits. But there are multiple other scenarios that may be available. But I would, these are the scenarios based on my personal interaction with that. Why inhaled nicotine is so addictive? This is when compared to other tobacco products like chewable or transdermal nicotine product, anything, smoking has been found to cause severe addiction and smoker experience a hard time in giving up the habits. So what could be the reason why inhaled nicotine is so addictive? I want to share this picture here, how nicotine delivered from the smoked cigarette to the brain. So upon smoking, that smoke gets into the lung. Is a huge surface area. Because of the huge surface area, this nicotine from the smoke got absorbed very quickly and getting into the bloodstream very rapidly. So it reaches the brain within it reaches the brain in seconds, but the maximum concentration of nicotine accumulated in the brain within 5 to 10 minutes, maximum concentration of nicotine is achieved in the brain. So maybe since there was no such addiction liability in other product, maybe the rapid delivery of the nicotine to the brain will be the reason why people are so addictive and not able to quit. So the way the drug delivered, the drug means I meant nicotine. The way the nicotine delivered to the brain really matters to get hooked up to the habit for a long time. Here I wanted to just explain how nicotine is activating the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, the function of the nicotinic receptor. Basically, I am going to describe here. I don't, just for a moment, I am not going to talk about nicotine here because this is a nicotinic receptor, how it functions in our normal brain, non-smoker brain. This is the structure of the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. If you look at that arrow shown here, these both sides, that's a binding site for acetylcholine. You know that acetylcholine is an endogenous neurotransmitter bind with acetylcholine nicotinic receptor. When there is no binding of acetylcholine in this binding site, you see this, that this is the internal parts of the nicotinic receptor. You see that this channel, this is called gated ion channel. From top to bottom, this is called gated ion channel. Now it is in closed position. This is closed. That's why the positively charged ions are collected here. These nicotinic receptor are otherwise known as ligand gated ion channel. Ligand means endogenous. It can be endogenous acetylcholine or any nicotinic receptor agonist such as nicotine. So there is no binding. So the nicotinic receptor is not activated. It's remain as a closed channel here. Once acetylcholine bound to the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor in the both side of the right side of the picture, you will see that the ligand gated ion channel opened up. It opened up. This is a closed position. This is opened up. It allowed the positive charged sodium and potassium to pass through, and that leads to depolarization of the receptors. The depolarization ultimately stimulates neurochemical release in the neuron in the other side. So this is here, I just wanted to show how nicotinic receptor look and how it actually activated by endogenous acetylcholine. So just imagine when that what I shown the previous slide, this is the non-smoker's brain. Just imagine when once started smoking, that acetylcholine binding site will be replaced by nicotine, because nicotine and acetylcholines, chemically they are identical with respect to the binding site. So nicotine is exactly will bind with the binding site for acetylcholine here in the both sides. So it automatically initiate the pharmacological action, how really the acetylcholine does to the non-smoker brain. But here one difference is nicotine is delivered in a huge amount when compared to endogenous acetylcholine in the normal brain. That's we have to keep in mind. Because of the huge amount of nicotine bound to the nicotinic receptor, it releases enormous amount of all these neurochemicals, starting from dopamine, which is responsible for pleasure and appetite suppression, noradrenaline responsible for appetite suppression and arousal. Acetylcholine will be useful for cognitive enhancement, arousal. Glutamate is responsible for memory enhancement and learning process. Serotonin is actually helpful for mood modulation and appetite suppression. Beta endorphin and neurohormone release, and it will be helpful for reduction of anxiety and tension. Then finally, GABA aminobutyric acid, which is responsible for reducing anxiety and tension. So these are the few important neurochemical released because of the nicotine delivered from the cigarette smoke. So, but one thing is we have to note here, nicotine will induce enormous amount of all these neurochemical release. It's not optimum amount. It will increase or enhance the delivery of the neurochemicals. However, although nicotine has influence on the delivery of several neurochemicals, the main reason why people are smoking seems to be for only one neurochemical, that is called dopamine. As I mentioned in the previous slide, dopamine is a enzyme, it can be even called hormone or neurochemical that is responsible only neurochemical responsible for the pleasure. So smoker really wanted to enjoy the pleasure. That's why they are smoking. As I shown before, nicotine enters into the brain within seconds, and the maximum concentration of the nicotine achieved within 5 to 10 minutes. And that nicotine actually stimulates the nicotinic receptor, and the dopamine will be released at three main areas, that is called ventral tegmental area and nucleus accumbens and prefrontal cortex. These three areas are collectively known as reward center or reward circuit. So the nicotine really stimulate the dopamine release at the reward center, seems to be the primary reason for tobacco addiction. Here, I wanted to just explain briefly the couple of mechanisms through which a normal person will get a dopamine release. Two main reasons through which a normal non-smoker will get a dopamine. One is by external stimuli. External stimuli means looking at some happy occasions, looking at a happy picture, or eating a delicious food. Those are the happy circumstances. Although it varies person to person, which is happy for them. Whatever the happiest moment they are experiencing, that will stimulate dopamine release in the brain. Another occasion is acetylcholine, which is already present in the brain as an endogenous transmitter, neurotransmitter, will bind to the nicotine receptor and stimulate the dopamine. These are the two ways how dopamine release in the normal non-smoker's brain. That is, one is through external stimuli, another one is acetylcholine induced dopamine release. Here, I wanted to show how the internal parts of the nicotine receptor, this junction between these are the two neurons. One is presynaptic neuron, that is called axon, and right side blue is postsynaptic neuron, that's called dendrites. The medium, the junction between the two neurons is called synapse. Okay, so at the synapse, the synapse will be helpful to communicate between two neurons, presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron, through either electrical or chemical signals. Okay, this is here I wanted to show the amount of dopamine released at the synapse without nicotine. Here you see the dots are dopamine. Here you see some optimum amount. I would say it's optimum amount for the non-smoker to experience happiness. That is because of two mechanisms, as I explained before. When compared to here, the same synapse, how the dopamine release could be increased by just binding of the nicotine. When nicotine bound to the nicotine receptor, it actually stimulate enormous amount of dopamine release at the synapse. So here I just wanted to compare the amount of dopamine present in the normal non-smoker brain, the amount of dopamine present in the smoker brain because of the nicotine. So smoker brain has got lots of neurochemicals when compared to non-smoker's brain because of the nicotine delivery. And a growing body of evidences demonstrate that elevated level of dopamine in the smoker's brain is due to another mechanism in addition to the nicotinic receptor mechanism, that is called monoamine oxidase enzyme inhibition. As we all know that monoamine oxidase enzymes are responsible for metabolism of chemically called monoamine neurochemical. That's include dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. Those are called monoamine neurochemical because monoamine nothing but a chemical structure. The name derived from the chemical structure of the neurochemical. So the monoamine oxidase enzyme usually metabolizes all the neurochemical And the monoamine oxidase enzymes are two types. One is monoamine oxidase A and monoamine oxidase B. This picture, this is nothing but positron emission tomography of the MAO enzyme activity in the non-smokers brain and smokers brain. So if you look at the left side top picture, that's a monoamine. The bright spots are responsible, the bright spots are related to the monoamine oxidase enzyme A activity. That is in the non-smoker. If you look at the down below picture, this is the picture of the monoamine oxidase level in the smoker's brain. You see that bright spots are reduced here significantly. The same with monoamine oxidase B enzyme. You see a lot of bright spots in the non-smoker. The bright spots are dramatically decreased in the smoker's brain. This particular data calculated that about 30 to 40% of the monoamine oxidase enzymes are reduced in the smoker's brain when compared to non-smokers. So this is another way indirectly helps that the dopamine will be retained in the brain for longer time in the smoker brain when compared to non-smoker brain. So this is a data published by the Dr. Jonah Fowler, a very good researcher in this radio tracing technology. She was the very first woman who published the data on the monoamine oxidase inhibition in the smoker's brain. Here, I wanted to basically explain and show that how the nicotine addiction progresses in the smoker's brain. So here you see the picture number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I will explain one by one. This is a status of nicotinic receptor in smoker's brain when not smoking. This remains inactivated. Why I'm saying it is inactivated, because the ion channel is closed. It's not allowing any positively charged ion to pass through. So it's remain closed. Here, the receptor is basically activated by large amount of nicotine when smoker smokes the cigarette. So it's the red spots are nicotine. When the nicotine bound to the nicotine receptor, it opens up the ligand-gated ion channel and causes a depolarization. So here, the nicotine receptor is activated by the huge amount of nicotine influx from the cigarette. This third picture is nothing but when after completing the first cigarette, after smoking the after smoking a cigarette, and this receptor again went back to closed position, because the receptor, what will happen, because of a repeated and long-term exposure of nicotine, the receptor got desensitized. It won't be responsive for any more nicotine. Although you see some nicotine here, it is not opened because it's desensitized here. So desensitization is nothing but over the nicotine also induces tolerance to the nicotine receptor. So it won't be, it will remain unresponsive or non-responsive to nicotine. So due to this situation, what will happen, that nicotine present in the brain will simultaneously replicate the number of nicotinic receptor in the brain in order to bind and exert the pharmacological action. First is, I will go one by one now. This is nicotinic receptor status when there is no nicotine in the bloodstream. This is, second one is when huge amount of nicotine delivered to the bloodstream. Third one is after smoking the cigarette, after stopped smoking the cigarette, that nicotine receptor will go to the desensitized position. That means it will not be activated. And due to the inactivation of this particular receptor, the nicotine present in the bloodstream will simultaneously stimulate the replication of nicotinic receptor in the brain. So it's called upregulation of the nicotinic receptor in the smoker brain. In other words, smoker's brain will have more number of nicotinic receptor than non-smoker. Hence, smoker have to keep increasing the number of cigarettes smoked every time to activate the upregulated receptor, and thereby they became heavy smoker. So we know that how the addiction progresses in the smoker, and now we need to know why it is so hard to quit smoking. Since smoker develop tolerance to nicotine, and nicotinic receptor will remain desensitized. Also, I explained before, smoker's brain will have densely populated nicotinic receptor. As a result, when smoker stopped smoking, the upregulated nicotinic receptor will remain inactivated and no depolarization occurs. As a result, again, the level of dopamine will be decreased to below normal. You remember that in the non-smoker, there will be optimum amount of dopamine will be released due to two mechanisms. One is external stimuli, another one is due to the endogenous acetylcholine. But once the people started using nicotine as a nicotinic receptor ligand, then that acetylcholine present in the endogenous circulation will not be enough to activate the increased number of nicotinic receptor in the brain. So we have 50 milligram dose that will be useful to activate one receptor. Now we in the smoker brain still we have the 50 milligram, but we have 10 receptor. You just think about it, how this 50 milligram will be able to activate all the receptor, newly formed receptor in the smoker brain. So none of the nicotinic receptor in the smoker's brain will be activated by the normal mechanism by looking at good picture or eating good food, that nothing will stimulate the dopamine release in the addicted smokers. So what will happen when they don't smoke? They feel withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, stress, demotivated. Some people depressed and feel unhappy, then they crave for smoking. So it is important to know that heavily addicted smoker will no longer feel the pleasure that they had experienced initially from smoking, but they have to continue smoking to relieve withdrawal symptom associated with smoking, or just to be a normal person, or just to feel a normal. Therefore, even though most tobacco smokers are intended to quit smoking, quitting and staying abstinent from smoking for long term will become so difficult, almost impossible for them, because they are physically and psychologically dependent on nicotine. So I think I briefly explained why people start tobacco product, how the nicotine addiction is developed in the brain. Now let us see what are the global impact of tobacco use. Tobacco use or tobacco smoking is evil, and it causes all ill health consequences, devastating impacts on the economy, and catastrophic consequences on the environment. This is a slide I should thank Dr. Venkata Reddy. When he was giving the introduction, he almost said what I wanted to say here. So let me repeat one more time here. These are the major diseases caused by smoking. Smoking can damage every part of the body. It causes lots of chronic diseases. You see, from stroke, blindness, gum infection, aortic rupture, you name it, any disease. That smoking can cause all kind of chronic diseases, and more importantly, cancer of all kinds, like head, lung cancer. That's most of the lung cancer, more than 80 to 90% lung cancers are due to tobacco smoking, and leukemia, stomach, kidney, pancreas. So just to see, what kind of cancer smoking can cause. So these are the major impact of smoking on the health. Because of this, it is important to know that smoking related ill consequences was not paid much attention until a comprehensive report published by these three agencies. Royal College of Physicians published a landmark report on smoking and health in 1964. After that, US Surgeon General report on smoking and health in 1964. After 15 years of the US Surgeon General report, World Health Organization published a major report on controlling the smoking epidemic in 1979. Just remember the name, what World Health Organization described in 1979 as a smoking as an epidemic. But as I mentioned, great attention towards the ill effects of tobacco smoking on human health was ignited only after the publication of these comprehensive reports. What is a major reason? What is the cause of smoking related death in human? So this is Dr. Mike Russell, who is a psychologist, a pioneer in the field of tobacco control, and fondly known as father of tobacco harm reduction. He said that on the tobacco crisis, people, quote, people smoke for nicotine, but they die from the tar, unquote. Tar means total aerosol residue. That is nothing but it contains more than 8,000 chemicals from the tobacco smoke. What it really means, smoker wanted to self-medicate themselves for various pharmacological action that I described when I explained about the reason for anyone starts using the tobacco product. They basically wanted to self-medicate themselves with nicotine, since nicotine being primarily a psychoactive substance responsible for smoking, but unfortunately, they die from various diseases caused by other chemical present in the tobacco smoke. So people smoke for nicotine, but they die from the tar. Here, I wanted to share the slide of World Health Organization. World Health Organization identified there are 8 categories of diseases as a leading causes of death in the world. So they identified the x-axis is a category of diseases, and y-axis, each trend line represent millions die. That is 1 million to 8 million of death here. So the solid color of each category of diseases, nothing but the death in non-smokers. If you look at that stripes, top portion of the each histogram, that are the death in smokers. So first, in ischemic heart diseases seems to be the #1 leading cause of death in the world for according to the World Health Organization. Then followed by ischemic cerebrovascular disease, the red one, and lower respiratory infections, chronic COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, kills a lot of people here, and HIV/AIDS, diarrheal disease, tuberculosis, and other respiratory tract cancer like trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers. These are the 8 category of diseases as a leading cause of death according to World Health Organization. As I mentioned before, that top striped portion of the death are contributed by the tobacco users. So if you look at that ischemic heart diseases, the top portion is 885, is nothing but 885,000 tobacco user died in this particular type of disease. That is 8.8 lakhs people die in the smokers category or tobacco use category due to ischemic heart disease, and 4.6 lakhs tobacco user die due to cerebrovascular disease. 1.5 lakhs people die in the lower respiratory infection. Look at here in the COPD, about 1.2 million people, that is 1.2 crores of smokers or tobacco users die because of COPD. And there are a couple of disease categories in which tobacco related deaths were not identified, that is HIV and diarrheal, AIDS, diarrheal diseases, and even tuberculosis. About 1.4 lakhs people die if they are smoker. And look at that lung respiratory tract cancer that kills close to 1 million, close to 1 crore people in tobacco users. So if you add up all the death contributed by the tobacco use in all 6 categories of the 8 diseases, it comes about 3.7 million deaths. But I am reporting 3.7 million deaths due to these 6 category of diseases by excluding the bottom dark color disease related to other diseases. So I am basically excluding this data in the 3.7 million deaths. So what I wanted to make sure here everyone understand that out of 8 leading causes of death, out of 8 category of diseases that were identified by the World Health Organization as a leading cause of death in the world, 6 category of diseases are mainly due to the tobacco use contribute in all 6 categories out of 8 categories of diseases. So the total number of tobacco related death will be 3.7 million. So here I wanted to show, based on this data, in 20th century, tobacco related deaths have been recorded as 100 million people. In other words, about 100 million people died because of tobacco use in 20th century. And it is projected to cause about 1 billion deaths in tobacco user in 21st century. So imagine if the current trends continue without any aggressive intervention, it is inevitable to see about 10-fold increase in tobacco use related mortality in the world during 21st century. So this is just wanted to show the current status of smoking or smoker according to World Health Organization. The total number of current smokers in the world is more than 1 billion, including 43 million children aged between 13 to 15, which is really accounts for more than 10% of the world population. Approximately 80% of the world's smokers live in low and middle income countries. And because of that, tobacco use causes roughly more than 8 million deaths every year. That includes 7 million deaths in smokers and 1.7 million deaths in non-smokers. Here you need to know that smoking is not only causing diseases, deaths, and other things to the user. It also affects non-smoker through side stream and secondhand smoke release from the smoking habit. So non-smoker also severely affected by the smoking habits. Now let me compare another statistics here. The approximate world population is about 7.8 billion, and estimated daily death due to various reasons is about 97,000 people. If you look at the tobacco use related death alone, that accounts for 22,000 per day. That too mostly from smoking. So about 23% of the daily death in the world are happening due to a single, that is preventable habit of tobacco use. Just imagine, about 23% of the world death is due to tobacco use. as I mentioned in the previous slides, 80% of the world smokers lives in low to middle income countries. This is the way how the smokers are distributed in the world, about 10 countries. Nearly 65% of the world smokers are distributed in these 10 countries. Okay, so the largest smokers lives in China. 30% of the smokers lives in China, followed by India. In India, about 11 to 12% of the smokers. And if you look at the other countries, Indonesia, Russia, United States, for example, 4.5% of the world smokers lives in United States. And in Japan, 2.8%, Brazil, Bangladesh, Germany, and Turkey. So as I mentioned before, 65% of the world population, world smokers lives in the 10 countries. According to a recent US Surgeon General report, more than 20 million smokers have died in the USA because of smoking since 1964. The 1964 is nothing but the landmark report released by the US Surgeon General on the smoking, impact of smoking on the health. So after that report, about 20 million smokers have died because of smoking. And approximately 34 million current smokers are in the USA, and smoking alone is estimated to cause more than 480,000 deaths annually. That is 4.8 lakhs people will die in the USA because of current smoking. So during 1964, approximately 42% of Americans were smokers. After the release of the US Surgeon General on the smoking and health, that report had a profound impact on the health of the American. It indeed triggered to implement various tobacco control policy and measures, and as a result, the smoking rate had significantly declined to 14%, 1/4. When they started collecting data, that 1964, the total proportion of the smokers in America were about 42%. As of 2020 US Surgeon General report, the current smokers in the America is about 14%, which means they were able to bring down the smoking prevalence from 42 to 14%. That is approximately more than 65% reduction in smoking population in the past 56 years. But still, smoking is a leading cause of preventable death in the USA, and it is estimated to cause more than 1,300 deaths every day. Another interesting comparison made by Food and Drug Administration when they describe about smoking linked death, smoking kills more people annually than other dangerous activity combined in the USA. They listed 6 activities as a dangerous activity, such as alcohol consumption, AIDS, road accidents, drug overdose, that includes both prescription, non-prescription, legal and illegal. All together kills about 68,000 people, and murder and suicide. So you see that alcohol kills 88,000, AIDS kills, you see the numbers here, how many number of people are dying because of the each dangerous activity here. So combined death toll is about 274,000 people. Remember, smoking kills 480,000 people every year. Then another interesting comparison also made by Food and Drug Administration, that in World War II, about 400,000 Americans were killed. Okay, so just imagine about 2 different incidents here. One is the combined total of these 6 categories of dangerous activities. Another one is World War II. Smoking kills more people annually, that is 480,000 people, than the listed 6 dangerous activity combined, as well as American died in the World War II. What is the mortality rate in India? India, tobacco used in various forms such as bidi, cigar, cigarette, chewing, and snuff. The total number of tobacco users die every year in India is about 1 million. So this is really huge number of people dying because of the single preventable habit. Recently, I read a news that Indian government has set a target to see a relative reduction in the prevalence of current tobacco use by 15% by year 2020 and 30% by year 2025. Let us all support to achieve the goal in order to reduce the prevalence of tobacco use. When Professor Amitya Sen spoke about tobacco-related death crisis in India, he said, quote, "It is truly remarkable that one single factor, namely smoking, which is entirely preventable, accounts for nearly 1 in 10 of all deaths in India," unquote. So that means about 10% of the death in India is caused by only smoking. This is really a very conservative estimation because he mentioned only about smoking. As we know that there are other form of tobacco consumption in India that also contribute some amount of death in every day. So according to him, about 10% of the everyday death is due to tobacco smoking. So far we covered about what are the health impact of tobacco use globally, more especially with the special interest on America and India. Now let us see how it impacts the world economy. In fact, a huge sum of money spent every year globally for smoking related issue on health and environment. To tackle the smoking related health issue and environment, I will be sharing the data associated with USA and India. According to the Center for Disease Control, the cost associated with smoking in the USA is about $300 billion every year. That includes nearly 170 billion US dollar for direct medical care for smokers and more than $156 billion due to lost productivity in smokers, and more than $5.6 billion due to lost productivity in non-smoker due to the consumption of or inhalation of second-hand smoker. The lost productivity here is calculated based on the data on frequent sickness and associated medical leaves. Let me compare this dollar amount here or whatever reported here with another interesting budget to understand the magnitude or worth of the money. The 1 year budget of India for the year 2020 to 2021 is about $336 billion. So now you could clearly see and realize how much money that USA had to spend every year to tackle the smoking related health consequences alone. So America had to spend about 1 year equivalent of Indian Union budget to tackle smoking related health issues alone. Now, this is a data about cost associated with smoking in India. As I mentioned before, bidi smoking is a popular form of tobacco product in India. More than 80% of the smoker uses bidi. that is total number of regular users is about 72 million smoker over the age of 15 years. The direct and indirect cost attributed to control the disease and also death of BD smoker in 30 to 69 years alone forces India to spend higher than $12 billion every year. This is in fact a very conservative estimation, as it excluded cost associated with other forms of tobacco product, as well as the age group between 15 to 30 years of BD smokers. You will not believe that how it also impact other natural, what are the costs associated on the destruction of forest. The cost of smoking linked to forest fire seems to be a leading cause of, smoking is a leading cause of forest disaster globally and cost over $27 billion annually. It is unimaginable amount of money wasted due to smoking, because how it's happening is just people after smoking, they just throw the unextinguished cigarette filter or BDs or cigar on the roadside of the forest region. That leads to forest fire that cost about $27 billion annually. It is a global estimate. So far, we saw about health and economical impact of health tobacco use. Now, let us see what are the environmental impact. It should be noted that these are the few example of major and deadly damages caused by tobacco use on the environment. In other words, tobacco smoking causes significant and deadly damages to the environment in various ways, but I am going to discuss with you only these three. One is generation of waste as a solid waste to the landfill, and deforestation and pollution. Solid waste to landfill. Cigarette butts are the single most littered item across the entire globe. It is amazing and unbelievable that approximately 1 trillion cigarettes are manufactured, smoked, and the filters are disposed on the landfill every year globally. So this accumulates huge amount of waste. Let us see how much amount of waste generated by the smoking. The mass of solid waste generated globally is about 1.7 billion pounds. That is equivalent to 8.5 lakhs tons of cigarette butts ends up in the landfill globally. That is for every year. In India alone, about 40,000 tons of cigarette butts and packs winds up as a toxic trash in India alone. So just to see how much waste generated due to the only one single factor here. Deforestation is a major concern because of smoking. Deforestation will indeed continue as long as tobacco smoking continues, because deforestation is happening to clear land for cultivation of tobacco. The trees are destroyed and used for processing of tobacco products. Besides, forest are destroyed and deserted by forest fire by recklessly throwing the unextinguished portion of the smoked tobacco product on the roadside. So these all leads to deforestation, which is a major concern to be addressed. Here we see some numbers here. So worldwide, more than 19 billion trees are destroyed every year to produce cigarette. That includes cultivation and processing of the tobacco products. It is estimated that 1 tree is consumed for every 300 cigarettes produced. If you put this number of trees in the acreage context, these 19 billion trees is could be distributed about 500 1,000 acres of forest. That 19 billion trees are equivalent to 500,000 acres of forest destroyed to grow and process the tobacco product. Then trees are destroyed due to forest fire by unextinguished tobacco products. For your information, you must have read the news that the very recent fire in California that burned down about 800 acres of forest was caused by a cigarette filter. Then next major consideration on environment is what pollution. Water bodies are contaminated with poisonous chemicals such as lead, arsenic, and other alkalides present in the tobacco smoke, tobacco product. Unused portion of the tobacco product, those that were collected by the rain, because after smoking, people throw the tobacco products on the roadside. The rain collects them and put them into water bodies such as ponds and lakes. As a result, the microorganism and other aquatic animals are killed by various diseases and chemical poisoning. And as everybody is well aware about it, the toxic air pollution. The toxic air pollution caused by two factors. One is direct smoke release from smoking, and second one is the toxic chemical released from the tobacco manufacturing facilities. So these are very serious environmental pollution caused by the cigarette smoking. Now, let me summarize here on the topic so far I discussed. And tobacco use leads to numerous deaths, diseases, and disabilities in smokers as well as non-smokers. Tobacco use forces to spend huge sum of money on the health care of smokers and non-smokers. Tobacco use causes water and air pollution in addition to depletion of forest, which leads to catastrophic environmental consequences. So far we discussed global consequences. I meant global sense. Smoking not only impact health, it also impact economy and environment. Now, we know the current status of the tobacco use in the world. So how to name the current status? How to name it? Let us see which term is suitable to describe the current status of global addiction. Is tobacco addiction is an endemic? As we all know about, endemic word is used to describe a condition or disease that regularly or constantly found among particular people or particular region. It's isolated. It's maybe either particular group of people or it may be in the particular region. For example, malaria is an example for endemic in Africa, Asia, Middle East, and Latin America. Do you think that tobacco addiction will be under that category? I don't think so, because it's not located in any particular area or it's not affecting only particular kind of people. Then look at that epidemic. Is tobacco addiction will be an epidemic? Epidemic is commonly used to describe a temporary prevalence of disease. As we know that the COVID-19 started as an epidemic in particular country, then after some time it spread worldwide. So that is a sudden or temporary prevalence of a disease. As you are all well aware that tobacco addiction is not a temporary prevalence, although it was a temporary prevalence in 1979, according to World Health Organization, that released a report in 1979 as smoking as an epidemic. Still, the disease or the illness is multiplying every year, so that won't fit into the category of epidemic. For example, for epidemic, we can call it as cholera and other dengue fevers. What about pandemic? Is tobacco addiction is a pandemic? Pandemic, as you know, that a temporary prevalence of disease occurs worldwide. That is perfect example is COVID-19. It's also not pandemic. So, in my opinion, none of the above terms would be appropriate to describe the status of the tobacco addiction worldwide, because tobacco addiction is an illness that is regularly or constantly found across the globe. That's very, very important to read again. Regularly and constantly found across the globe. So none of the above terms will fit. So we need to coin a new name and declare that tobacco addiction indeed a global endemic. It is endemic because it's regularly found. It's global. It's found all over the country. As we all know that, based on my brief explanation of how nicotine is such a powerful addictive compound present in the tobacco, which is more addictive than any other drug addiction. So once hooked to the nicotine, it's very, very difficult to get rid of the nicotine use. So in my opinion, prevention is better than cure for nicotine addiction, especially. Although it is applicable to many of the disease or habits, that is very perfectly will fit into tobacco addiction. Hence, it is extremely important that we need to accelerate action plans to prevent initiation of tobacco use in youngsters, particularly youngsters, to avoid use, so that the tobacco use linked dire consequences will be prevented in the future generation. Who will solve the smoking linked consequences? I like the quote that Mother Teresa said for some other thing, and I feel that it is a perfect fit here. You can do what I cannot do, I can do what you cannot do, but together we can do great things. So based on Mother Teresa quote, in my opinion, we need to attack as a team. And at the same time, we need to attack the current tobacco crisis effectively in two directions to achieve tobacco-free world a reality for our future generation. First one is, and foremost action is, by preventing the initiation of tobacco use in youngsters during teenage period. Secondly, we have to treat the current tobacco users and reduce the prevalence of tobacco addiction. I believe that we need to have concerted efforts from these 6 categories of important people to accomplish the above task. So in order to prevent the initiation, I feel that parents, teachers, and lawmakers should play very important role. Parents should play important role as a role model by not using any tobacco products and advise the kids. Teacher should educate the ill consequences of tobacco use to the students and guide them properly not to pick up the habit. And lawmaker must make and implement anti-tobacco policies and law to protect their citizens from tobacco addiction. So these 3 categories people will play a key role in the prevention of initiation of tobacco use, and doctor and pharmacist, scientist must be qualified professional to reduce the current tobacco prevalence by treating them appropriately. Doctor and pharmacist should maintain the tobacco use history of each and every patient and help them to quit their habits by individually tailored treatment. I want to emphasize the point here. Doctors should make a individual treatment plan for each smoker. One size does not fit all here because each smoker is different. Some smokers are just addicted just by using 5 cigarettes. Some people are addicted to 20 cigarettes. So the treatment for the smoker who uses for 5 cigarettes will not useful for the smoker who smoke 20 cigarettes. So the doctor should tailor to plan a treatment according to individual need. So that's why it's called individually tailored treatment. And pharmacists should advise the patient on the interaction of a drug with the smoking and other consequences. Okay, so scientists should keep researching new medication or treatments or new drug delivery system that could potentially help to treat tobacco addiction. Public health scientists, epidemiologists should collect and publish real data on the tobacco use scenario and publish them in a large outlet to grab the attention of respective people to execute action plan to control the tobacco use very effectively. So by a responsible action by these 6 categories of people, I hope that we could prevent tobacco use in the future generation. Together, everyone achieves more as a team. Let us work as a team to make tobacco-free world for our future generation. What is extremely important? The important thing is here, although I explained the treatment and the prevention, we need to create awareness among youngsters, both in rural, most importantly rural people, as well as every parts of the country, every parts of the world. We have to create the awareness among youngsters on the addiction liability and ill consequences of tobacco products, and prevent initiation of tobacco use is extremely important to eradicate the global endemic of tobacco addiction. So, as you might be reading the news, very recent publication on the link between smoking and COVID-19 reported that smoking was associated with almost doubling the risk of disease progression in the COVID patients. So it is evident that smoking is not only responsible for other diseases, it's also comorbidity and worsening the other diseases and infection too. So with that, I am completing my talk. I think I kept the time on time, I think. So my sincere thanks to Dr. G.K. Murthy, Principal of Bapatla College of Pharmacy, for inviting me to talk in the wonderful webinar. I extend my thanks to NSS Program Coordinator, Dr. K. Venkata Reddy, and also other program coordinators and all faculties and managements of Bapatla College of Pharmacy for organizing this online program. More importantly, I thank you all for your attention in watching and listening this webinar. With this, I finish my talk, and thank you so much for the opportunity, and it was my pleasure to share the data. This is time for question. Thank you. Hello.
Purnachandra sir, you stop one carrying any laptop or mobile, so the resonance will not come in the.
Thank you very much, sir. We had
Thank
a
you.
wonderful
Thank you.
session with you, sir. The last
Thank you.
1 to 1.5 hours.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to an end of this wonderful session for 1 to 1.5 hours. Now it's my responsibility to thank everyone who has supported directly and indirectly in the successful completion of this international online webinar. I thank today's chief guest, Dr. K. Venkata Reddy Garu, NSS NSS Program Coordinator, JNTU Kakinada, for his prompt acceptance and kind presence for this webinar in spite of his busy schedule. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I especially thank today's speaker, Dr. Murugesan Tangaraj Garu, for his much valuable and informative session. Sir has covered various aspects like health sectors, financial sectors, environmental sector, deforestation. So what are the liabilities from environmental hazards like deforestation, pollution, like water pollution, air pollution, and mass solid waste generation. So all this information is a very valuable, sir. We will surely work on this. And one of your previous and penultimate slide says that as a pharmacist, we have got some more responsibility to educate more and more people. And as an NSS program officer, we are very much inspired, and we will surely educate. And when we go around adopted villages around our college and during our NSS programs, we will surely work on these areas, sir, and we will try to educate. Sure, for sure, sir. And truly, it is an inspiration and valuable information from your session, sir. And looking forward for some more wonderful interactive sessions in near future with Murugesan, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable information.
You are most welcome. Thank you. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Pleasure, sir. I take this opportunity to thank all the NSS volunteers, NSS program officers, participants, and other delegates from various parts of the country for their active participation and their kind support towards a smooth connection of webinar. And I thank my management, principal sir, students, and my colleague faculty members for their valuable support and help in successful completion of this webinar. I thank Mr. John Sagar for his technical assistance and his continuous technical support during this webinar. And I request all the participants to fill the feedback form, which is going to be presented below the YouTube video when we upload in a while. Thank you. Thank you one and all once again. And I hope stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So once again, thank you, Dr. Murugesan, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any question I can answer, or?
Is there any questions?
Sir, most of the students are very much interested in listening, sir, your session. So you have got a wide range of areas, sir. Like what you said in your summary sheet. So straight away from how the tobacco is going to affect your body organs, how these organs are being deteriorated period of time. And later on, you covered different aspects, and they are enjoying, sir, and they are very much interested in. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer if you have any specific question from the audience or anything. Otherwise,
specific, sir. Sir, I will check once again, sir. I will check, sir.
Sure, sure.
Thank you very much, Dr. Murugesan, sir, for your kind concern and eager to know the questions also. What sort of questions and your preparedness to answer such kind of questions.
For some reason, I could not hear you properly.
Principal sir, the audio is clear in the laptop, I think so.
Echo is coming.
Good to see Dr. Bhaskar Rao sir here.
Yes, sir. Nice to resonate